I'd like to call to order the meeting of the ad hoc committee. Uh, Agenda, we don't really have too much on the agenda, but I have asked Andy to come back and just give us a brief, real quick, on what he talked about the other day as far as monies and so forth that we're losing by not having the fields turfed and so forth, just to kind of refresh you and get your memory back to where we're at. Andy, if you want to, go ahead and take a stand.
So basically, what we were talking about was the loss of revenues as far as our concessions and field rentals that have come in over the last couple of years. Um, it's all kind of based on what we bring in a given year or a given weekend for a tournament. So, if we're missing out on, and I think I had it somewhere, I forgot that paper, but it's around 8 to 10 weeks that we've missed, or games that we've missed per season, or dates. And then throughout the years, the tournaments that we've missed out on Saturday. In fact, we were able to play this Saturday, but it took all my guys, me included, being on the field from about 6 in the morning till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon to get a pretty big tournament in this weekend. So, and those are things that you're not going to have to worry about if you have artificial turf. It would have rained at 1:30, I think, Saturday, and everybody got up and went out on the field and played. We wouldn't have been required. So,
Mr. Blake?
Andy, so the concessions and all those things, but also what you're able to quote unquote charge now to directors versus what you could charge, the potential difference between a. Do you have an amount on that? I forget
well,
what you charge now.
so basically, what I charge now is about $100 a field a day. So if
$100 per field.
so it's say they're using one complex, $400 for a Saturday tournament.
Right.
How?
And if we have actual turns, could you $200 or
Easy.
$250?
Easily.
So
And then also
100% increase there on just that itemized right there.
and
right?
then
Yes.
something, Mylon, that you brought up in the past, as far as if you have turf fields, then you're looking at being able to say, all right, now I want a deposit up front.
Yes.
You're gonna play. Whereas I've never really charged those based on the fact that I can't guarantee we're gonna play. But I think that the deposit that Athens has for the bicentennial is somewhere around, I can't remember, or it's say roughly around 200. So for every date they ask for, they're going to want a upfront deposit of 200. If you cancel it within 30 days, you get that back. And they break it down that way.
Yeah. So to be totally fair on both sides of it, this is the quote unquote potential revenue side. I was also, I guess, Melissa, and in order to coordinate and work with all these directors, you would need staffing or something like that. I mean, you would have to change your model of how you do business a little bit, which would require.
Well, if we were to ever say, hey, we want to
Yeah.
run the tournaments, then that's a completely different world. Now,
Okay.
I know that Chattanooga has had a group, and I think that I've heard that they're breaking that down into a little different format now. It's not going to be Chattanooga, but they're using an outside group that kind of, I guess, tries to bring those tournaments in. I don't know how that exactly works, but
I know we got. So, is your position as the director of Parks and Rec right now? You're basically in a mode of letting the directors come to you and use the facilities. You're not so much going to be the director yourself, but are you opposed, or what's your position, if you want to think about it, of eventually Bradley County, quote unquote, getting into the tournament business, at least softball and baseball, the two I know about.
well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's a different. That would be a whole different budget if you're getting into those kind of terms. It's not just the. Well, yeah, I could probably get enough teams in here to play a tournament, but those tournament directors set up a tournament. They pay gate people. They pay all the officials. They do all those things. And to have a Saturday tournament is just not a Saturday job.
So the reason I asked that is there's a mindset, we'll call it that, is that we are losing out on that as well. That the tournament directors, and you and I both know some of them, are making a killing, and we would like to do that.
Well, I'm sure there's
But-
money to be
but-
made, but there's a lot more money to spend to do those things.
But we're
also.
not there. I know it's a cost
Yeah.
benefit analysis, right? We have to basically look at how much it's going to cost, and then how much the benefit is, and is it worthwhile? So, Mr. Chairman, that's my 2 cents on that.
Mr. Rogers?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tournament fees are $100 a field per day. Is that correct? And
Yes.
currently,
Yeah.
How many games are played on one field a day?
I mean, all that depends on how, time.
Perfect
limits and all that
weather,
stuff.
starting in the
Yeah.
morning, going through the end of the day.
Mm. I might still have the schedule from this last week to give you a rough estimate of what that was.
10 games.
Yeah, maybe roughly something like that.
So we're charging $10 a field or $10 a game per field currently. And I understand the situation that we're in right now with grass and dirt and those types of things.
Well, I mean, that all comes down to, like I said, you could say that it's going to be a 90-minute time limit.
Mm-hmm. Most are.
Well, softball might be 70 minutes.
Yeah.
80 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And you could say you're going to roll one out every hour and a half.
We know they get delayed. We know things happen. Sure.
Fall behind. Here, this is the net that ran this week. Let's see how many they had per field. Yeah, they were basically every hour and a half. So they started Saturday. They wanted to start at 8.
Yes.
And, they played 8 to 8:30. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 or 9 games a field.
So currently we're charging around $10, and you said easily we could charge $200, but we could potentially charge even more than that because I know other tournaments in other places charge more than that per field per day, or they have a package, right, where it's
Yeah.
here's the number, here you can put as many games on there as much as you want. You basically rent the entire park, and this is the X number. How long have we been charging $100 a field?
I couldn't tell you that, honestly. I went up a little bit over the last couple years back, but I don't know what my predecessor charged.
How long have you been here?
10 years.
And so you would say for the past 10 years we've been charging $100?
I think I started at around 75 a field when I first started. I went up $25 a field.
And why is the reason we've never gone up anymore?
I don't.
Just
Real
curiosity.
answer there.
So other than the fields and the payment for that, the only other money that you make for tournaments is concession stands. Is that correct? And in a tournament, do any of your umpires or any local umpires umpire in those tournaments?
I do not know.
Okay.
I
They
don't
bring their
supply-
own?
What I have in it is getting the fields ready. If we have, like this weekend was a multiple day tournament, so my employees had to come back in. The tournament directors pay that overtime fee, and I have my part-time workers, my concession, and I have some part-time workers that work at the park throughout the day.
But Bradley County pays for those.
Yeah, those come out of my budget, but I mean, to one of your questions about us running the tournaments, it would scare me to try to have to find the umpires. I'm a high school umpire, and it's everything we can do to get 30 guys to get us through the season, much less have to go find, that many guys for one day. They don't work cheap anymore. I don't work cheap. It's too much to do in one day. So.
Can I ask you, and I have one final question, and then Commissioner Slater, sorry. Currently, let's take this last tournament as an example.
Okay.
What day because I know you had a tournament this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday here. What day did your team start working on the fields to get everything prepared for that Saturday tournament?
Well, I mean, we were working on the park all week. I
Yeah.
mean, just your general maintenance of the park, so it looks nice when people come in.
Yes, sure.
The fields were in pretty good shape.
Specifically the fields.
to do with them because our fall season has been over. But, you know, they were making sure everything was edged. They're dragging them probably a little bit earlier in the week, maybe extra time, locking them up. So we if it does get some weather at night, nobody gets on them. And then, when we do open them back up, just general maintenance of them if somebody did get out and practice. We still do have local people that are practicing on the fields. But
And then Saturday it rained.
Friday night it rained at about 1:30. I looked out my window at about 1:30.
And what
it was
time did
dry.
you guys start? What time did you guys start working on the fields that day?
I know that me and my maintenance director were at the park probably before 6, and then the rest of the maintenance crew probably was in there by probably 7:30, 8.
And are you paying for that, or is the tournament directors paying
That'll
for
be
that?
the tournament director.
We'll
That's
pay
gonna
for
be-
that.
That's going to be on top of your regular 40-hour
Okay,
work week.
thanks.
Ms. Slater?
So Commissioner Alford had said you were going to give an update as to how much money had been lost. How much money has been lost?
I think it's all not guaranteed that we lost this much, but I mean, it could be said in the last 3 or 4 years, it's somewhere between, say, 70 and 80,000.
How much have you lost this year by not being able to have tournaments?
Tournaments that we say we probably missed out on this year, I would say maybe 20. I don't know, it's hard to gauge. I could tell you that a lot of single day tournaments might bring you in $5,000 in the week on a Saturday in concession, but it depends on how many teams they bring in. So I kind of always ballpark it around $2,000 a day unless they have a really big one.
So we really don't know how much money
No,
we've really lost.
No, it's not etched in stone. It's what you look at what you make on a typical Saturday when we have a tournament, or what we would have had on a typical Tuesday night playing rec ball games. Say on average we bring in $2,000. We've missed this many dates. We maybe missed out on this much.
If we turfed all those fields, would your maintenance expenses go up or go down? Do you have enough personnel to manage those? Would you need to hire people? Would you have too many people now and have to let people go? What would your staff look like?
I think the staff would be about the same. You're gonna be able to lessen some areas of your maintenance. You're still gonna have to take care of the grounds. Turf fields aren't maintenance. You still have to maintain those. There's still a process to keep them cleaned I've been looking at that here recently. You still are dragging those because you got to get the debris off of them. You still have the high traffic areas you're still having to work on. And they have different machinery for that. So the turf is, fake grass about that long, and you have infill in it, just little beads. So naturally, if you slide a bunch in one spot, you're pushing all that away. So, on a daily basis, those maintenance guys are still going to have to go out on those infields, still take care of those high traffic areas, still make sure that everything's still level. You're still going to have jobs that come up that you want to do weekly as far as sweeping, or monthly as far as, they even sanitize some of it. I'm not saying that we would have to do that. You're checking your seams or things like that. So I don't think it would affect my staff as much. I think it would change how the maintenance budget works. But as far as people, we still need those people.
Anyone else? Mr. Hughes?
Andy, I was asking, I think the last time, were you able to get any estimates on what just laying turf on the infield would be?
I've got quotes on it before. I've got a quote on Bradley North earlier this year that was around $600,000 for the infields. You can gauge it at about $9 to $12 a square foot, and now that's kind of based on. I think that the higher end is naturally it's going to be the quality of turf you get, also what goes into the pre-turf, what kind of groundwork you have to do to put that in as far as drainage and things like that. So it's a range around. If you wanted to go high, about $12 a square foot.
Now, is that the price you gave on total, was that a total for all fields or just one?
4 fields,
Four fields.
infields, and they you come in, you dig it down. Of course, you don't have to take the stuff out around it. You dig it down, because we've been talking about doing infields. You curb it. They lay out the drainage system underneath, and they do the infield, which is rock and drains to run out to wherever the land tells you to take it, and then they come over that, turf, and then the infield. So
And how many fields do we have at Bradley North?
we got 4 at Bradley.
Four, that's it. So I'd do that one part completely. Is that baseball and softball, or is that just the
Well,
baseball?
all my fields are, they're sized for youth baseball and softball. I mean, softball can play all the way up to, they typically, I think high school field's about 225. So my fields are all close enough to that when some of these softball tournaments come in, they've got 18-year-old girls playing on them.
Would you mind extending that a little more? Can you explain what a youth field is and what is the next level up?
Okay, so
And do we have any of those?
Elrod would fall under the next level up. So basically, youth baseball is going to run from our rec league. We start them at 4, but so say 5 to 12. That's played on fields that are roughly about 200 to 225 foot fences. Your infields have 60-foot bases, 65 up to 70. 12-year-olds play on 70-foot bases. Their infields are a little bit bigger. The back edge is a little bit bigger. So say at County Field, the field up on top of the hill that we play 11 and 12s on, its back edge is quite a bit larger than some of the others. And then your next level would be when you start putting in, say, 13, 14 used to be 80 foot, but they went away from that. So middle schools are playing on the same field the Braves are playing on now. So you've got 60-foot pitching mound, 90-foot bases, infields like at Elrod, where the back edge is cut basically like the Atlanta Braves field is cut. You're going out 60 feet, and then you're measuring out to about 95 feet, and that's your arc. So that's a substantially larger amount of dirt, especially those because they're all dirt, whereas your high school fields have grass infields at least, and then just the skinned dirt area. So, but everything that we've discussed to this point, the county at Urbane, Bradley North, are all those smaller sized fields, going up to max of 70-foot bases.
So if doing that, then the likelihood of hosting 13, 14, 15, 16U baseball and softball tournaments would probably not be there.
It would still be
Softball possibly, but
softball would be a go.
yeah,
We'd be able to play softball to whatever level you wanted to play.
baseball though, no.
Baseball would be more hinged on what would be done with Elrod.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Mr. Mason?
Andy, maybe by the next time we meet with the ad hoc here, you think you could maybe check on grants? What we can find for monies on that? Because that's a lot of money. Thank you.
You had mentioned, we had had talked with Andy not long ago referencing Elrod Park, turning it maybe to the baseball size like you were talking about. I think he talked about what they're doing, I think in Georgia somewhere, that what they did was just build a higher fence for the outfield. That way they could play those 13, 14, 15-year-old baseball.
Yes, so Elrod outfields are 300-foot fences radius, which is what I've been told is even small for slow pitch softball now. Hot bats and hot softballs, I guess. But so in Dalton, their newest facility, which is I believe Riverbend Park, I think they may be 325. But now the Perfect Game, the group out of Atlanta area, Island probably spent a lot of time down there playing in those tournaments. They've utilized those parks quite a bit. And I mean, they swallow them up pretty much from June through August. But to what Commissioner Alford was talking about is in the gaps, they jump the fence up to make it more of probably a 20 to 25 foot fence. So you can maybe, if those are turf, you raise that fence up, you pull that perfect game level of baseball into the community also.
One other thing we didn't mention is how much we're missing on just our local people getting to play. Nothing to do with tournaments. Let's look at how many games we missed because of rain with just our sports, young people playing.
Yeah, that, I believe I put that around the last 3 years, maybe close to 30 dates, which is close to 25 games a night. Which is a lot of baseball and softball, and it's tough. This is the call I get a lot. All right, Saturday would have been a good example. Okay, everybody was asleep when it rained. When they woke up, it was pretty, and then we didn't play. So that's the call that always comes to mom. Why are we not playing? The sun's out at my house. And I understand that, but it rained half an inch last night. If you don't have drought weather, it's going to be hard to get on those fields the next day. So when we're scheduling, basically, I think we try to get our rec team about 12 games a season, spring, fall. About half of those people are upset, and I don't blame them. I'm up sign up to play.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So you said over the past 2 to 3 years, there's been about 30 dates that have been rained out, and that's about 25 games a day. So that's 750 games that local kids have missed being able to play because of weather and because of dirt, because of the infields and those types of things. My question is how much do you currently charge for a local, my kid? I've got a 9-year-old that could play and play softball. How much would we pay as a family to play softball for Bradley County Parks and Rec?
$75.
If it rains and the game doesn't play, do you refund me? I didn't think so, right? So I mean, so we're missing, and if that's, divide that out, 750 games, you're talking about 250 games a year over 3 years that you're missing. That these kids are paying for, parents are paying for, and they're not able to play, and they're not able to do anything. So thank you.
Any other questions, Ms. Slater?
So, Mr. Chairman, what is the next steps?
I guess, in just my opinion, it's up to this committee to decide if it's something we need to further look into. And I don't know, Mayor, maybe you can answer this question. Can we get estimates before we come up with the money? Can we put something out on a bid before we actually decide which way we're going to go?
No, you can't do the bid, but he could get more updated estimates. Like right now, it's 150,000 a field on a 4-field park, but that's a few months old. Has anyone talked about the TIF situation?
That's my point. Next question I was going to ask you, if we've made any, what's the scenario there you're looking at?
Well, it's the ideal way to go, except the timing's not exactly on step with you all. But if the TIF gets approved, which will be coming to you probably after the first of the year, the timeline, that would all be done in 26. You've got a designated funding source that could pay for at least 2 of these parks, is my understanding. So about half of them could be paid for with TIF money. I know some could say, well, we can borrow it and get paid back. Yeah, you can, but you still use your borrowing power. But ideally, you time it where that as the TIF gets approved and the revenue starts coming in, you do the fields. That would be your best funding source, in my opinion, with all the school projects and other things that we've got that's coming up over the next 2 or 3 years. But that's not today or tomorrow. It's next year and then the following year. But if you were willing to do them in 26 and 27, that would probably work. It's just something to think about. It would be a better source of paying for them.
So, yeah, obviously the TIF is the way to go, because the way it works, but it will only affect, or if I'm wrong, Irving Road. Like, because they have to designate the actual land that's gonna be,
Yeah, it definitely would do Urbane Road, which is how many fields?
10 counting the smallest.
So that's your majority of your fields right there. And while it's in the discussion stages, it might be more than that. I don't know if we can get all three of those. Blue Springs won't work, but some would argue it could get Menace Road. I don't know. I don't want to say more than we can get there, but if we could only get the 10 fields at Urbane, that would be huge. I mean, 10 fields times 150. Let's say it's 200 now. 10 fields times 200,000.
but so if, you know, we put delay, in other words, if you go to TIF, and this, from a funding point of view, that's the right thing to do. But Menace Road and Bradley North, if TIF's not gonna work, right, we don't know. Is that right?
If it's not, yeah.
Right, then obviously to do those part, I guess first question is, do we wanna do those park? Mine would be, yes, we do, because Menace is the newest park, and it would attract the high schoolers and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
my position would be, yeah, we do wanna do those. So answer that question first, and then if it's not gonna be funded through a TIF program or structure, then obviously we're gonna have to figure out how we fund it with our budget. So that we can take up right now if we can get the answers to those first two
You know,
questions.
we'll get the answers, better answer on whether if we could use Menace. Let's say, for example, the answer is we could include Menace. Then, my suggestion, you guys look at funding
So
Bradley North, Eureka, and you fund it now, and we wait on the others if they qualify for TIF. Now, if they don't, then you might fund Menace Road and Eureka, but definitely not North, because we know North can be in the TIF. And it could be argued that one or two of the others could be. But
we
yeah,
won't-
and
when
then
will we- I guess these 4,000 questions, when will we know what TIF can and cannot do with respects to these parks? That we,
probably after the first of the year, as they move into the phase of, the first step is it goes, I don't know how much y'all know about the TIF, but it'll go to the Industrial Development Board to see if they will recommend it. And I'm assuming they will recommend it. And then it'll come to the county commission January, February-ish, and we would have an answer then, at that point, what the TIF area is.
so at that point, getting new parks or new turf for the fields is out for the spring, playing
yeah.
time, right? Cause it takes a couple months to do it, so. In other words, if we wanted to be aggressive and try to get things done by the 26th spring, we gotta start kind of like tomorrow. And that's not gonna happen because TIF question's not till January.
Right.
All right,
And then you would be using better seasonal work you're gonna have to I don't know what Andy would say about this, but you either gotta shut down a season of use or do it in the winter months. November, December, January, February. It'd have to be one or the other, but probably next winter months at the earliest. But we might, for example, if we're fixing to turf, if y'all voted to fund turfing Eureka Road, we might not have fall league at Eureka Road and get it done in the fall during the better season. Go ahead, Andy.
I was gonna say, that's, my personal preference, brought up like that. Say we were gonna do one right. First part.
Right.
Worst drainage.
oh, okay,
You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
County holds it pretty well, so if we were to say, all right, which,
I
we
get
do
it.
4 right now, I'd say, let's jump all over Bradley North. Okay? Huh? No, that's 4. That's
4.
Eureka. Then, and just hear me out here, saying that, I could even play a spring north. If I adjusted, if I had to go out to Elrod and play you in the spring, I could utilize those two to hit it. I like to have all of them stores. Everybody would. But if it was broken down the way you gentlemen are talking about it, at a tip, but hey, now I would go that way based on. We spent more time Saturday at Bradley North. We have more fields at County Bradley North, just because of the way the. That's the only reason.
I get it. So, Mr. Chairman, Mayor, my thing is, we sit and wait till January to find out the quote-unquote TIF answer. And if it turns out that TIF can't handle Bradley, because it's geographic, right? I mean, they're gonna figure out how, go all the way up to Bradley North with a TIF program. If they come back and say, sorry, it happened in Bradley North, but Menace Road and Urbane, they're good to go with TIF.
Menace Road, we think will be. We know Urbane is.
Yeah, Urbane's clean.
We think we'll be able to get Menace.
You know, right there.
Right over the hill.
Right. Menace Road, I guess, somewhat. I just hate to wait on Bradley North. It's only 4 fields, right?
Right.
So it would be quote unquote the cheapest of the 3 to do. Let's go ahead and fund it now.
I don't, would probably, when we get an updated estimate, we need to get an idea from them.
If we can get it in by spring.
Can we do it in the winter months? But if not, if you make that decision, like he said, we would not have a spring league at Eureka and do it in the spring. Worst case scenario, because he can work around Eureka and not have a spring if that was needed. And we might can get it done during the winter months, but I think that'd be a question for them when we're getting an estimate update. What's your estimate and what's the soonest timeline? You see what I'm saying? Because we're going to have to go through a bid process and a lot of things with holidays coming up. So I think it's probably more realistic to think of spring, but.
Mr. Leader.
Where's the money gonna come from?
I was thinking, I guess that's saying it's me. Mayor, this is what I was thinking, is HCI, this definitely would fall under health, welfare, quality of life. I think we have 2 more years left on the library payment, send over to the city. They did it a year, 08, so obviously in 28, we can go ahead and work with the city on that. And you may have 1 year of overlap where you have to pay the city, I think it's what, 150,000 and over there. We know the forecast for HCI for the next 2 years based off of the CDs that the trustees purchased. Should be about 600. So we'll chip into that for 2 years and then just continue on like we've been doing for the last 18 years with the library. And just continue on paying that way. So in other words, some may say it's kicking the can down the road, but you're actually purchasing another quote unquote product. Just how we've been paying for it. We're going to have 1 year of overlap. That's going to be those 2 years. I'm sorry, those 2 amounts, and then you just continue on with like we've been doing for the last 18 years with it. Does that make sense?
Did you follow him on that? The stream of money.
We were all waiting for the 08, and then it frees up 150,000. We're just taking advantage of knowing that that's going to happen.
Yeah, HCI will go away in 2 more years, approximately, and this, whatever many years it would be, would start before it's up. So you would have overlapping. But the ideal answer to what he's saying, if they can get it done, is it comes out of HCI. It's first off of the HCI money, which is what they did with the library several years ago. The only thing is you are doubling it up for a period.
So we have revenue already
With the HCI
with the
money. Yeah.
purchase already.
And-
Got 700,000.
So next year's HCI might be affected with the giveaways. More of it might be tied up for the next 2 years on debt.
HCI met the other. Sorry to interrupt. HCI met the other day, and they didn't grant all the money. 100,000 back.
Good.
Yeah. And we're talking about 800, an estimated off of 150. Mayor, you said 200. We're talking about 4 fields. for this.
800,000.
So we're talking about an estimated $800,000
Yep.
for these 4 fields, give or take.
And
That
I
would
would,
come out of HCI for a couple years to pay for.
I would have to
And the
find out
beauty
what
of
the
it
debt
is-
service is on 800,000 in X number of years.
The interest we pay it right back to ourselves.
Yeah.
That
That
In
was
the
my-
meantime, just so
that
you'll,
was my idea, is to get that package funded that way. We're used to paying that field to the city every, doing that for years. We're all for turf, this should be something we're all for.
I agree. The only thing is, in the meantime, I'm going to try my best to have all three places included in the TIF.
That
Uh,
is a much better way.
But we could start the process, if you all decide, of doing the borrowing of roughly 800,000, X number of years. What's that do to the HCI payment? And hopefully I'll have a better answer before you get to that final approval. Does that make sense?
I would
Yeah,
make a motion
that,
to do it.
that
Well-
would be the way I'd look at going, because that, to me, the money's already there, basically, with HCI, you know. We're just overlapping that 1 year, you might say, or
It'd
maybe.
probably be 2 years, but
Maybe 2 years, but
We
So-
don't have to pay the trustee that follow November, but that's fine, you can work
Yeah.
that out.
Ms.
But
Slater?
So Mayor, we would not be taking any money out of the general fund or using taxpayers' dollars to fund this.
No,
I would hope not.
no.
Now, the
Because
intent,
I
would be-
can't support that.
the intent would be to use HCI money that is already going for debt for the library, that's going away, and it would flip over to debt for this particular.
And HCI money cannot be used for salaries anywhere.
No, I'm
Not
pretty
close.
broad, but I don't think so. They use it, the United Way uses it for programs. We always use it for capital.
Yeah, I'm talking about on our side. We don't
Yeah.
use HCI money to fund salaries.
Right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
do have one question for the mayor. When we go out and start this process, that I think Commissioner Blake is about to make a motion, will you be just getting quotes and estimates on just these four, or how many are at Menace? 4 as well?
Yeah, but they're substantially bigger.
No, that's what I'm saying. Well, like, so we're talking about 18, right? Eureka's 4, County's 10, and Menace is 4. Will you be getting quotes on all of that so we know at the same time, or how will that? I mean, that way, if we're
We could get estimates on it. They won't be good by the time we do them. That's a
well,
everything
because we'll
road,
have
but
to
we
go
can
and
get 'em.
rebid them again, or
Right.
put them out for bid down the road. But at the same time, at least we have an idea. Because I mean, we can all guess 150,000, 200,000. You go out to Menace, it could be 300,000.
Right.
But nobody knows a true number. So I think if we did that, I think that would be a big possibility. And I also agree with Vice Chairman Mason. There are plenty of grants out there from Scott's Turf, Scott's Company, Major League Baseball, Rawlings, tons of different sporting grants that are out there that I think we could apply for to either help us purchase machinery for the fields that we could look at purchasing to be able to get those grants to be able to come back in and help cover some of the money that we're pulling from HCI or whatever it might be as well. So I would encourage the recreation department to look into all of those ahead of time as well before, but not stop the process for the grants because we have a payment method for these 4, but try and bring those in as well for more improvements as well. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Hey, we talking about Bradley North, Menace Road and Urbane, that's 14 fields. That would that not suffice your wants right now without Blue Springs and Bradley North? Could you not use those as your in-between fields when you're building or working on the others?
Now, we can juggle it however we juggle it, sure, as far as working at this part, how can I still get my 1,100 kids spring season work wherever I have. I just said Bradley North because that's the one that we've always had problems with. As far as,
Yeah, but how much tournament play does Bradley North get?
well, not not as much as the county because
That's,
there's more
that's my
fields out
point
there.
is, I think with the county is where we need to look at more than anywhere right now. Menace Road, Elrod and the county. I wish we'd name that park something. I hate to just say county all the time.
Name it whatever you
I know what I'd like to do, but we'll wait and see. But I'm thinking Menace Road and upgrade your leagues a little bit, and then the 10 fields at Urbane.
I would
That's-
say it would be harder to work around if I took out, if I take all of the fields at county off of Urbane, I'm having to play it would be harder to work around because we have more play out there through the regular
I
season.
know you do. You got every night.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you're playing Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday.
So that's the point I'm trying to make is we need to start in the winter when you're not doing anything out there hardly and get it done before spring comes. I guess that's where I'm coming from,
But that'll be,
Mr. Blake.
that'll
is-
be winter of 26.
Yeah.
Right,
And
this time next year.
And I
right?
think, Mr. Chairman, what they're trying to say is that, and not to put words in your mouth or your mouth, Mayor, but Eureka Road is the worst flooding fields that we have. And we have the funds through HCI to go ahead and start the process there to build those fields out into turf. And that's a possibility to where we could either do that hopefully by March or by early spring, March, April, May. Now, if we get rain in months, in the baseball months and in the fall months, where county, what I call YMCA field, the county, that we could then turn those kids that are supposed to be playing there, we could move them potentially to Eureka if needed to be able to still have ball games being played at that time, waiting until the TIF comes in. If that gets passed by both the commission and everywhere else, the TIF comes in, and then at that point, county and Menace would be able to be done this time next year through the TIF, half of them, and then the other half probably in 27. Is that, Mylan, is that what
Yeah.
you're saying? And Mayor and everyone, is that kind of what the thought is?
Given what we now know, I mean, I think it's not what I would like, but it's the best course of action to get the ball rolling and get some things going. Waiting on Urbane Road and the TIF program, absolutely, from a funding point of view, the way to go. I'm hoping that Menace Road gets included in the TIF. I don't know about Bradley North, so that's, to answer your question, yes, Josh, Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Hughes?
If I'm understanding this, I think you and Josh both have already touched on this, but it sounds like to me if you're able to turf that field at Bradley North, you'd be able to utilize those easier
A lot more.
whenever you start on the others.
Yes.
So
I
it
mean,
just makes sense.
And I didn't even put this into when I gave you how many rainouts we had last. There were nights where we could play at county, couldn't play at Bradley.
Okay.
Does that make, they just, those ones by the YMCA, industrial, county, whatever you call it, have always hurt. We missed more games at that park. I'll take it however I can get it, however we can work it. That's how we have to put that.
Where I'm coming from on some of this, I guess, is, Mr. Rogers, is that if we do 4 now, to me, I think we'd get a heck of a lot better price if we did several fields at one time rather than 4 fields now, then wait a year and do the other 8 or 10 or 12 fields. I just think you'd get a better price if you try to do them all kind of at one time.
I don't think we had that luxury.
Sorry.
Yeah. I agree with Commissioner Blake. I don't think we have that luxury, but that's also why I asked Mayor Davis, would we be getting quotes on 18 fields when we go and do this, and the bids on 18 with the understanding that the work order of those 18 fields wouldn't all be taking place day one. We would do 4 now, 12 down the road, 4 down the road, over an extended period of time where we would have that bid process through, are we, if, when this comes back for us to, for the commission to vote on putting it out, to giving, authorizing the mayor to put it out for bid, would we be bidding just the 4 or would we be bidding the 18? And that was my understanding is how do we go about doing that under, with the TIF? Because we could do the 4 now with this, but down the road, that bid process could be 14 fields because we have the TIF funding.
Right, and the vendor doesn't care how we fund it, whether it's through TIF or
Yes.
through HCI. They just want a payment on.
And they don't care how long it takes as long as they have a work
Mayor, if
order
you-
that
if
it's
you're working with-
start to end date.
When you're, obviously, when you're working with the vendor or whoever does this, if they're up to like, okay, we'd like to do this first and we got these other things, and work with them like, okay, an amount now and then later on in the winter of 26, they probably won't, but it's worth the conversation. In other words, go ahead and, I wouldn't say prepay for some of it, but basically try to capture a price point, and they get to be the vendor for the whole entire project instead of us having to redo the whole thing again. From a vendor point of view, I'd like to know that, because then I know I've got business in winter of 26. But that's, Mayor, that's up to how you want to negotiate. But I think right now we got momentum. I think we've got the cost benefit. It's something Bradley County needs to do. Mayor, you understand my idea about the HCI, how we can just overlap maybe one, at most 2. All right, because we're getting ready to do the 26-27 budget here this spring. We'll fund the library, and then following, by the time all that happens, at most you'll have 2 overlaps. And we've got funding for that. So, Mr. Chairman, if it's okay with you, I'd like to make a motion requesting that the mayor come back to this ad hoc committee with a proposal for us to take up with respects to the funding and the timetable of Bradley North, and if possible, all of the parks that we're considering for turf, softball and baseball. So I'll put that in the form of motion. Thank you.
Second.
Yes, fine. Give me a good timeline is all I ask. It will take a while, sure enough, because he's got to spend some time getting estimates. Those other fields, infills, I don't know if you've still got to measure some of them or not, but anyway, to get the estimates, get their timeline on per park, and then I'll be working on the financing side of it while you're doing that, but that's going to be a while.
Thank you, Mayor. Real quick, Andy, as far as any of the fences going up in order to meet the 300, this funding, how we're doing the turf, wouldn't be a part of that. But if you have an amount of how much it would cost to do that, if you'll let Mr. Alford or somebody know, because I think we're going to need to do that. You saw the email we got from Melissa, from the guy in Chattanooga. In order to entertain that, you would either have to expand the fences to 3-something or raise it.
I just go, I mean,
So-
there's no way to.
So in other words, it looks like the green monster kind of concept.
We can't go back at Elrod.
No room to go back, so you got to do the green monster kind of thing. Okay.
Okay,
So
we
if you'll-
got,
if
we
you'll
got a
come up-
motion on the floor. Let's vote on it, Mr. Blake, and we can come back and ask questions on that fence. Okay?
Go.
Okay. Motion been made and second. All in favor of Mr. Blake's motion, say aye. Any opposed?
Are there any other
Okay.
fences in our that need to go up?
Those are 5. Elrod's the only place that we could get that in.
Okay.
So I don't think you have to do the whole, well, it probably wouldn't hurt to do something in the parking lot, Elrod, even help.
Well, get while the getting's good, you know.
As far as baseball in there, I think you just went gap to gap, worked your way up. But I can talk to some guys.
Yeah, just give me an amount and we'll work with you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. Any other questions or comments? Then, yes, sir.
I don't normally say anything, and I hope I don't regret saying this. I support what this committee is doing on this issue, but I think it would behoove you all to clarify, and it was alluded to, but let's talk about the elephant in the room, that all of the funding you're talking about, whether it be TIF, whether it be HCI funds or grant funds, all three of those funding sources cannot be used to increase the pay of first responders. It's not a decision. It's not. You're not able to use those funds for that purpose. In the past, I think when this discussion has come up, you've all taken a little bit of unfair criticism that you're funding issues like this while ignoring first responders. And while I do think you all agree and know that that's an issue that does need to be addressed in the future, this is a separate issue that the funding does not affect and cannot affect. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I think it would be good to. It was alluded to earlier by Commissioner Slater and by the mayor, but I think it needs to be made clear to the citizens and to our first responders that this is money that cannot be accessed to affect salaries and pay raises for them.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director
Appreciate it.
Lewis.
Thank you, Adam.
But it helps us fund
Yes.
the infrastructure for money that eventually does. So it's not directly, it's an indirect way of helping fund other funds
Correct.
that can help first
Yep.
responders.
This is the kind of
So look at this as an investment in a way.
absolutely, and I think if there's an unwillingness by the public or the commission to raise taxes, and for good reason, I think that it takes this type of outside the box thinking moving forward to fund a lot of the things that the county